for failing students. As we all know, in every class, we have some students who are low performing. And what we should keep in mind is basically that every student should succeed. And for that, I would like to take this topic today when we come to the end of this academic year so that we are better prepared to help struggling students or low performing students. In this evening, I am going to speak on 7 areas. I'll introduce the topic, then I will mention the low performing students as underachievers. So how do we understand them? Now, because they are underachievers, we have differential expectation for bright students and underachievers, and accordingly we treat them that way. Then how to handle this unconscious differential treatment that we give for underachievers? What should be the basics of our teaching learning situation, and how best we can use our teaching time, especially for these underachievers? And the last part is strategies for helping struggling students. So I will try to cover up the topic in these few areas. All of us, we struggle at some time or the other, and sometimes it is becoming tough. And then we should keep pushing ourselves. That continuing to push ourselves is called perseverance. In this picture here, you see the man has to take that round figure up, and he needs to be persistent. We also know that struggling students have to work harder than the others around it to accomplish the same task or learn the same thing. What we are going today to focus is, well, how can we cannot study for struggling students, but we can definitely give them the tools that they can succeed. And so in this session, we'll try to see what are the tools that we can give struggling students. So what happens to these struggling students? There are many factors contribute to this underachievement. The first is the emotional problems. Suppose there are parents are fighting again with each other. It causes anxiety, and children sometimes feel because of them parents are fighting, and so they lack concentration. And children do not know how to, especially small children, they do not know how to behave differently. So sometimes poor performance is an attempt to get attention from parents, is an attempt to get attention from teachers. And so sometimes you will notice that most of the students who have behavioral problems are students who are having emotional problem. The second area we see is called peer pressure. When children come at adolescence, they tend to listen less to their parents and teachers and more to their friends. Why? Because they would like to be part of a group. So if the group is striving to do more, then it will have a positive impact. If the group is performing low, then it will have a negative impact. So they study less if they are in a negative group. so that they get an acceptance, they can be with friends, and that causes a lot of difficulty in academics. The third thing why students perform poorly is boredom. Many of the classroom teachers are pure lecture methods. There's hardly any relation to life, application to life, relevance to life. There's hardly any projects, there are hardly any group work, there are hardly any library consultation, and so it becomes uninteresting and unchallenging. And the other reason is fear of trying. Many underachievers do not, though parents tell them you must work harder, but they do not want to work hard because they are afraid that they will fail. There could be many other reasons, but these few reasons are the some important reasons why we have underachievers. Now you will see there are different expectations. What does it mean? Studies show that students tend to perform in accordance to the teacher's expectation and treatment. मान लीजिए आपके पास दो बच्चे हैं, बड़ा बच्चा उसको 90 मार्क्स मिलता है, तो माँ बाप क्या करेंगे, बेटा पढ़ो अच्छी तरह आप फर्स्ट रैंक ला सकते हैं. And suppose you have another boy who is in the 5th class और वो केवल 10-15 मार्क्स लाते हैं. So what will you say? बेटा कम से कम पास हो जाना. What will be your expectation for the big boy? Do well, you'll encourage him more. For the small boy, what do you say? थोड़ा सा मेहनत करो बेटा, कम से कम पास हो जाना. It is called differential expectation. The one who's performing better, you have a different expectation. The one who's performing less, you have different expectation. And because of the difference in the expectation, the brighter child, he works harder to get more higher marks. The weaker child, he gets poorer marks or just enough marks to pass because the expectation is just to pass. And for the other one is to pass the competitive. So this is what the teacher's expectation and the treatment takes place. The next one is it reaffirms unconsciously the way we teach. So if you're teaching a bright student or if you are told that this class is bright, you will have one way of teaching, one way of supporting students. And if you have told that this class is very poor, you will have another way of teaching and supporting students. Now, there have been a lot of experiments where a teacher was sent to a bright group of the same class and she was told these are weak students. And the teacher went to a poorer underachievers and she was told that these are bright students. And the students who were weak, their results went up. And the students who were bright, it came down because unconsciously the way we relate, the way we support, test them becomes different. Then this differential achievement, differential expectation and treatment affects students. And what happens, then we call them, they fulfill the self-fulfilling prophecy. जैसे I gave you that example, छोटा बच्चा उतना मेहनत करेगा पास होने के लिए because daddy mummy wants him to just pass. बड़ा मेहनत बड़ा बच्चा का फल यही होगा high performance because the parents are expecting him to do better. So this is called self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, unconsciously teachers, you just observe yourself and you will notice the way you are treating students differently. This is unconscious, huh? Please remember. You tend to be warmer the way you smile, the way you nod towards positive students. For bright students, you'll be more friendly, more supportive. So when you're talking to a bright students in the class, the other weak student को they say, Miss give अच्छे जो अच्छा मार्क्स लाता है उन लोगों के साथ बहुत ध्यान देती है and हम लोग को कम ध्यान देती है. Why? Because when there is less eye contact, few non-verbal support for underachievers, for weak students. There will be extra questions directed to brighter students and fewer questions directed to underachievers. The higher level cognitive question will be addressed to brighter students and rote learning question will be addressed to weaker students. Now these are research done in India, in different parts of the world, and I'm putting this thing down. When a bright student say bunks the class, the teacher will be little mild in correcting. But if a weak student bunks a class, teacher will be very severe in criticizing. Though the action is the same, but because she feels these are bright students, I did not have to shout that much. And because of their weak students, I need to shout. And so when students, weak students, they perform poorly, everybody shouting at them, the parents, the teachers, the management. But when a bright student fails a particular subject, the criticism is less severe. So we call this the differential treatment. Now this differential treatment tells how to behave in the class. And because of that, it affects students' interaction with teachers. That's why the less weak students do not come close to teachers. It affects their self-esteem. It affects their motivation and achievement. And so teachers, what we are saying is, we have to look beyond what we see. Are we able to look beyond the past achievement, beyond the socio-economic status or stereotype prejudices? Are we sensitive to them as growing person who can exceed their past performance? Neuroscience, I do a lot of study in neuroscience, says intelligence is not fixed. It can be developed. Today, students who have not performed well, if he is guided and supported and motivated, can change himself, can improve his performance. So we have to look beyond what we see. And so the first thing I would like to see in with the new academic year is, when you see underachievers, you tell yourself, I will help these students to perform better. I will help this student to succeed. Succeed is not quantitative in the sense of 90 or 100, but to do well, to tap his potential. We come now to the third part of our thing is, what should be the antidote for differential treatment? How should we check ourselves? So the first thing teaches is, all students, irrespective of the academic performance, are entitled dignity of being a child of God. We must not show partiality in the classroom. We must not show differentiation in the way we treat in the classroom. We must make every student blossom. So my first thing, I give you 10 tips and you may note them. Tap their potential. Tap the potential means by your extra support, by your encouragement. Give opportunities for underachievers. If you don't do this thing, their inner growth will be stifled. We know if you plant any pumpkin in an open air, it will become brown and it will grow big. But if the plant is put into, say, a mineral water bottle, it will grow to the shape of the mineral water. It is stifled, its growth is cut off. And so teachers tap their potential. All of them have potential. The next thing is plan for their success. You must always plan for the success. Bright students will pass. Whether you teach, give them extra coaching or not, they will pass. Now, suppose you are in an airport and the pilot tells you, makes an announcement, I am your pilot and my success rate is 50%. 50% I have landed safely and 50% of my time my plane did not land safely. Will you feel comfortable with this pilot? No. Pilots are chosen for 100% safe landing. And so teachers, all of us must make sure in the beginning of the academic year, this child will safely be promoted to the next class. All my students will do well. And so my program, my teaching is not to eliminate, is not to fail, is not to select, is not to discriminate, is not to blame underachievers. My program, the way I will deal with my students is for their success. The third thing teachers is nurture underachievers. A growing plant needs extra attention. So have a systematic, creative, concrete strategies to empower their academic competence. We must help like small testing, a small quiz, a tip here how to solve problem, how to answer, how to write say comprehension passages, how to select the right answer. So nurture their achievement. So one area is plan your academic strategies well. Second, build their self-esteem. Make them tell themselves, they should tell themselves, I can do, I can pass, I can study. That is called self-esteem. And the third, develop their social heart. That means make them agents of change. Make them feel that they can contribute. When you do these three things, you will nurture the underachievers. Fourth is dream big. Always dream big for them. Have a positive expectation. Now, we all know if my expectation is positive, I will get positive result. If my expectation is negative, I will get negative result. You see, this is what is called the secret. The secret. If you go with an open mind, we call that open mind, growth mind, then from the cosmos, new ideas will come to you to become creative. But if you want to take revenge, then ideas, negative ideas will come how to take revenge. So if you keep a positive expectation, and if you tell the child, have a positive expectation, you will do well, then he will build up that level of expertise. Now, what are some things we all of us have to take care when we begin the new academic year, and especially in the line of underachievers? The first thing is check students' readiness. Many times students are there just because they ought to be there. Parents tell them, get up, jog, school, they are there. And so one of the ways is motivate your child. Motivation is very good. Now, our job is if children are not motivated, to motivate them. and make their teaching experience a joyful experience, a playful experience, an activity oriented experience classroom. So when you have this thing, you are building an what we call an intrinsic motivation under kiba. That means from inside, you are making them desire to learn. That is called students' readiness. The second is make learning meaningful. Meaningful का मतलब यही है, whatever you teach them, what is its relevance in daily life? What is its relevance in the day-to-day understanding, say, of price rise? Now you are having petrol increase. You are having cooking gas increase. You mentioned that topic to them. And then you make them calculate what is the percentage of increase have taken place. How much has petrol increased in the last week or in the last month? So make it very relevant. Just don't give them what is 20% increase of say 90 rupees. No, no, not that way. Give it a very concrete, make it very meaningful and say, okay, now this is what is the increase. All vegetable costs have gone up. So make it very meaningful. The third thing is we learning becomes beautiful, it remains in our mind if it is applied. So a lot of small assignments, a little bit of project work, a little bit of hands-on experience, then students will learn better and they will remember the principles better. Fourth, teach about passion. That means you must have passion. Now, teachers, sad to say, many teachers do not have passion. They teach, they cover the syllabus, but the passion to really make students understand that I want to, at the end of this class, I would like all my students to understand this. That is called passion. Learning outcomes. You must be clear with the learning outcome. What would you like your children to do at the end of the class? Fifth, make in your teaching, they should be listening, they should be questioning, and you must be responsive to students. That means personal care. Please do not ignore students in the classroom. Please do not ignore underachievers. Communicate well with them. Six, caring, nurturing, developing minds and talents. Now, it is always said an adult, a caring adult has a great impact on the life of students. This caring adult can be a parent, it can be somebody, a relative, it can be a teacher. But remember, since we are in the school, we can all become caring adult that will have a positive impact in the life of the students. Seven, keep abreast of your subject. Now, all of us have to keep abreast. We all know the content, but we must have videos nowadays. You may have to do projects. Now we are all trying to do with three northeast states, and so you have to connect it to northeast. You may have a project linked with that, and so keep abreast with your subject. What are the new developments? Now we heard about in this Russia-Ukraine war is about vacuum bombs. What are the vacuum bombs? We had heard about atomic bomb. We had heard about collateral damage. We have heard about demolition. But what are the vacuum bombs? Why then simply say you're teaching about war? Take this incident. Why do they like to bomb the atomic centers? Because this time two atomic centers have been bombed or damaged partially. Or why do they want to damage their TV center? So keep abreast with all this new development. Now, now we come to a very important area, teachers. That is, how do we make use of our teaching time? I always tell people that what is research telling us? In a lecture of 1 hour, teachers, students, all of us can pay attention to 80% of the talk in the first 10 minutes. And we can pay only 20% of our attention in the last 10 minutes. Now, teachers, when we come late to the class, then what happens is you have a lot of noise, lot of disturbance, then you get upset, and because of this, you start shouting. So when their mind is 80% attentive, many times we are negative, correcting, discipline. That's why we say, come on time. Start with a speed and then slowly decrease the speed of your thinking, because by the end of the period, the concentration becomes less. And so I'm going to tell you how you use your teaching time. 10 strategies are there. First, come prepared. All of us should come prepared. Have not too many points, 3 points, three subtopics, have some concept clarification, norms, have it built-in test there, check their comprehension, reinforcement. This preparation doesn't mean what I'm going to teach today. No. It means how will I teach? What are the main points? Write the main points there. Give them what are the main concepts there. What are terms they should know? How do you check them immediately? That is called come prepared. The second thing is set the context. That means remember, when you are teaching something, it is better understood within the context. So show your ideas to them, describe, let them observe them, tell them to describe them, ask questions, argue about them, tell them to find the answer. This is the set the context. So you set the context where children become interested and also searching, active, so that they're able to do well. The third thing, teachers, is give them an historical perspective. We understand better with an historical perspective. That's why parents today, if their children do not hear how their grandparents suffered, how they suffered, how they have come up in life, if that historical perspective not given, children will not study also. And so a historical perspective builds interest in the students, enthusiasm in the students, and it builds up curiosity. Now, when there is this curiosity, endorphin chemicals come in the brain, and that helps learning. So, as far as suppose you're teaching a poem, tell something about the poet's life. Suppose you're teaching something about education, tell them about where are best places for education. Suppose you're teaching something about the French Revolution, you may also integrate some of the revolution that have taken place in India. So a historical perspective or a connective perspective will make the learning content beautiful. The next one is this I have talked to you, engage students actively. Now we know that many of our classroom teachers, we teach. Nobody is saying teachers are not teaching, but it is so teacher-centered classroom that hardly any activity. Students are not collecting, they are not taking notes, they are not making interviews, they are not observing, there is no practical application. So give students this opportunity of collecting, sorting, observing, note taking, interviewing, and other practical application. The next one teaches is that paraphrase major points. Now, this is a very important technique, summarizing. When you, from time to time, whenever you are able to say things differently, students will remember better because the major points are repeated, and when they are repeated, then it is also remembered. And if it is possible, teachers do it in different modes. Take, for example, mathematically what you're saying, or verbally what you're saying, or graphically what you're trying to say. That will be another way to paraphrase. The sixth one is make it meaningful, that I told you. A little humor, a little joke, something about the scientist, something about the way he behaved, always makes the lesson interesting. The next point teaches is demonstrate a new concept. Always have in the blackboard, describe it. Now, many of us, because of online teaching, we can all select, we have videos, we have our lesson plan through PowerPoint and through videos. Kindly keep using them. Don't say, now because of offline, we are not going to use that. They will be very important thing to demonstrate an idea. And then teachers uh, use the board work, write on the board, do not cram, and finally solve students' difficulty. Now there is in the solving student difficulty, you what does it mean? You may have to sometimes conduct remedial. All of us, we wait for 45 minutes after the students leave to correct your copybooks and all. During that time, teachers conduct some remedial class for weak students. If students have something to clarify, this is the time you can help them to clarify. And so, teachers, what I have talked to you is right now is basically available in my book called Underachievers Can Be Top Scorers, and a very popular book with teachers. And all my books are available in Prabhat Prakashan, which is close to St. Michael's School. And phone numbers are this. As I mentioned last time, for social sensitization of responsibility, I mentioned shaping a new India. So also for others, for parents, there are books and all those sort of things. So now what I have done so far is, teachers, I have focused on understanding achievers. I have focused on how different expectation we have, and because of different expectation, different treatment. And then take for example, how should we handle the differential treatment? And then I talk to you what should be the basic of our teaching learning and the effective use of our teaching time. I now come to the last part of the what we call the strategies that we have. So what are the strategies for struggling students? Now, teachers, I just want to tell you is I have always tried to help struggling students. Why? Because they struggle, we must help them. And there is great joy when a weak student, struggling student does well. There is great joy in the life of the student. And as teachers, this is what I strongly believe. I have a responsibility to help students to succeed. I have a responsibility to make them succeed. So it is very important that I, as a teacher, will make sure that my students succeed. I cannot change the whole world, no, but I can help those students who are in my class. I can help them to succeed. And so I'm taking this. So in the next academic year, you tell yourself, I want to be a teacher who will make all the students in my class succeed. And succeed is not having numbers of 100, It is not having number of 70. It is helping them to tap their potential. So I'm giving you 10 strategies how to you can do that. The first one is never underestimate the positive impact you have in a child's life. There are lots of stories, and I have my own experience, and teachers, many of you have your own experience, where you gave a little time, where you encourage a student, where you took a little extra effort to help an underachiever, and that child changed his life, and today he is a very successful person. You must have noticed some students coming back to you and telling you, "Sir, do you remember? You gave me two slaps when I failed in the class, and you said, I don't want you to fail." And that students have succeeded and changed their life. And so remember, teachers, never underestimate the positive impact you can have. And this has been coming in all our research that a teacher who helps a struggling student, those students will remember you much better than the brighter students in the class, because you have transformed their life. The others think हम अपनी शक्ति से आगे बढ़े हैं, but these students will say, today what I am is because of this teacher, and I want to thank and I pray for this teacher. So never underestimate. You can make a difference. You can change them. The second point is differential instruction. कहने का तात्पर्य यही है, one size does not fit all. अगर मान लीजिए today all of you are attending my seminar, and I say because you are attending the seminar, all of you will get 7 number chappal. जिनका पैर 7 नंबर का है, you will say thank you very much. जिनका पैर 8 नंबर का है, you would say ठीक है लेकिन 7 नंबर देते तो अच्छा रहता. And those who are having 6 number will say ठीक है लेकिन हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ा है. So this is what, one size does not fit all. So teachers, we know in a class there are the different learning style, audio learners, visual learners, kinesthetic learners, reading. So when you are teaching, do a mixture of everything. So you will cater to all the learning style. That is called differentiated learning. Have hands-on learning, have sometimes panel discussion, have sometimes group. All this should be part of the revision, part of reinforcement, reteaching. That is called differential instruction. The third one is called scaffolding. अभी मान लीजिए बिल्डिंग को पेंट करना है, they put this scaffolding, they put this iron bar, but they start from the bottom, they go up, they go up, they go up. So you must start with simple concept, built up, built up, built up. That is called scaffolding. Scaffolding is a teaching technique which you build on a student, and then slowly you help them to understand the content better. The fourth is give a sense of purpose. See, a sense of purpose psychologically helps us to achieve a lot. What happens is, teachers, if a student knows that he is going to reach this goal or this target, then he will also become good. Now, many times we have students who are not socially sensitive because that is never having a goal in their life. We don't tell them. And so we tell these students, your goal is not only to study for yourself, but also to help others or to help the society or to bring glory to your family, bring glory to your class, give them a sense of purpose. अगर हमारे पास कुछ उद्देश्य नहीं है, I will not achieve well. And so having a purpose, having a goal is very important. Now teachers, all of us remember, if you come to the school saying the sense of purpose is I want all students to succeed, it will happen. If you come to the class and they say, हमको syllabus किसी तरह complete करना है, किसी तरह complete होगा, but all some students will fail. If your sense of purpose is हमको आना है और जाना है, then only आना and जाना will take place. So sense of purpose is very important. The next point teachers is ask higher level question. Now I was just going to the CBSE question pattern, board question pattern. They're using understanding question, they're using contrast question, all these different things are there. So focus, go beyond the knowledge level question. Go beyond the rote learning question. Focus on understanding comprehension. Focus on application. Focus on analysis because I saw analysis were there. Focus on synthesis. So train students, train these weak students in higher level questions. Why? Because 60% of your questions will be from understanding and little above. And so if you're going to focus on understanding and application and all, then you have better chances for the students to succeed. The sixth point, teachers, is allow students to explain their answer. Why do I, in my seminars, now I cannot do this one now, but in my seminar, I always have pair share strategy. What is that? I give every participant an opportunity to summarize. I cannot, not in front of the whole class, but I do it in pairs, I do it in groups of 3 or 4, I do it in through group discussion. Why? When a student is able to explain, is able to summarize, and when he is able to summarize, he can be corrected, and then these students will remember better and get better marks. And so, teachers, whenever you are teaching, you make room, give room for students to explain the answers. Not to you, maybe 3 4 good answers and then to their companions so that there is a way and then you monitor, then you say the right answer correct. So this is what we call this allow students to explain their answers. The next one, teachers, is fight the urge to tell the answer. Now all of us, when it is a weak child, we want to give the answers immediately. Rather, give them the tools to find the answer. It is very important the difference between telling the answer and the tools. Now, this is the difference between a good teacher and a poor teacher. Now, if you tell the answer, you are allowing them to, you are catching fish for them. Now, tomorrow they will be hungry again because they do not. But suppose you teach them how to fish, you're giving them the tools, then they will not come to you. So, giving the tools will make them independent, will make them confident, will help them to succeed in life. So, never stop the urge to give students the answer immediately. Tell them to find out, give them upon some time to discuss and all. The 8 point teachers is called time management. Now, what is the Pareto principle saying? The shorter the time, the faster that work gets over. माने कम समय में हमारा क्लास जल्दी से खत्म हो. Now let me give you an example. You are a teacher now. Nowadays in the school, the practical exams are there, and there is 5 marks for the practical copy or for the project work. Now today it is March. But suppose you said, students, you have to prepare your practical copy in October. How many students will prepare? Nobody will prepare. Suppose you tell them in December, maybe some students will prepare. Today is the 12th of the month. And suppose you say on the 12th student, there is a practical exam. You tell them on the 1st of March, practically all of them will prepare. Why? The lesser the time, the faster the work begins. So for all of us, we must follow. That means tell them to have this time assessment principle. So time management is very important, teachers, and so tell them to give shorter time to study faster and to study all their subjects. The next one is teachers assess student throughout the lesson, not at the end of the term, one test, small tests, and give them a feedback. Feedback का मतलब क्या है? Interactive feedback. Not saying 2 marks, 1 mark. Interactive माने आपस में बताइए ना, in a form of a conversation. Beta, your spelling mistake or your grammar mistake, your punctuation, or the next step is not very clear. Whatever it is, give them that feedback that will do well. The next one, teachers, is write down direction or task to be completed on the board. For underachievers, unless they are many times they are visual learners, and so you need to put it on the board what they should be doing. That means you must, so that you tell them to take up. So when they are clear what they should be doing and you put the direction there, then it is you have more chances to succeed. Take for example, you say you have to write an essay. Bright students will write an essay. But if you can help the students, these are the possible sub themes in this essay. These are the possible points. You have brainstorming or something like that. You do that. You will help a lot of students in writing their essay well. And so teachers do that part of it. The next one is teach just one new concept at a time. Don't teach too many things. Struggling students, underachievers, their grasping power is slightly not as intelligent students. They need more time to digest it. They need more time to clarify in their mind. So please do not try to cover up. So not what happens to many of them. Sometimes teachers, you cover up in the last 10 days before the exam, 2 or 3 chapters. And if you give questions from those 2 or 3 chapters, these students will fail because they need more time to understand, to digest, to solve, and all those sort of things. That's why I tell teachers when I was a principal, I want all of you to complete the syllabus 15 days before. And 15 days, I want you to revise because this is the way in which we must help underachievers to succeed. The 12-point teachers is provide a consistent one-to-one or a small group intervention. And sad to say, teachers, many of us do not see the importance. I always tell, though now I'm the manager and director, you must meet your students. You must have what we call mentoring, one-to-one or in a group. When you are providing this intervention, telling them how to go about, what to do, you have more chances of students succeeding. So one-to-one is very important for these students. 10 teachers, the last three year, reward struggle as well as achievement. We only we only try to support achievement, but reward the struggle also. Encourage them when they are making mistake. Okay, encourage them. Don't say you are wrong. You are okay. You're okay. Every mistake is a stepping stone to success. Give students that everyone can become smart, and so you now know that this is not the correct answer. So you can work on evolving the correct answer. The next one, 14 number teachers, is teach perseverance. All underachievers, they need the idea of perseverance, not to give up. Now, many of us, when things are going tough, we give up. You just see now in family life, when the father and the mother have their misunderstanding, they tend to separate much more faster than before. इसीलिए we are having a lot of divorces now, lot of separation, lot of fights. We are not learning that we must work the solution. Husband and wife should sit down and try to find out what is a mutual way. We should be persevering in our marriage vows. That is called a value. Persevering in a marriage. And teachers, remember, you must have. I'm your teacher. I will help you. You must also help yourself and teach them the art of perseverance. So please do not give up on the coachable. And the last time is tell them this simple thing. You can. You can do it. Whole world is saying तुम पास नहीं हो सकते. You cannot do it. Parents are saying you will fail. तुम कुछ लायक नहीं हो. But they would like to hear the words from their own teachers. Beta, you can. I will help you. I will guide you. You also do your best. You can. These are what we call, this is the power of encouraging words. And so, teachers, I want to, as a conclusion, I've given you some options to help our struggling students. I really feel that at the end of an academic year, no student should be repeating the class. I always feel that at the end of the year, we do not want struggling students. We do not want limping students, but we want students who can run, students who can do well. But remember, there is no fixed solution, no quick solution. It is not like Maggie noodles. It needs perseverance. It is difficult. We need hard work. But that is what you and I are for. All students do not need our attention, but struggling students, they need our attention. And we need to create the right sort of environment where they can learn, develop, where they can improve their abilities. At the end of the day, teachers, remember that students, when we help struggling students, there is greater inner joy and peace in our hearts because for that student, I have made a difference. So summarizing, what I try to do is as we begin the new academic year and as you are correcting the papers, remember every failing student, every underachiever is important to us. We would like to see all our children doing well. And I try to understand there can be different reasons why children are underachievers. And because they're underachievers, we have a differential way, different expectation. As parents, we have different expectation of our children. And because you have different expectation, you will treat them differently. You will treat them differently. And so teachers, we must take care. Students do not see us partial because of academic performance. Students should not feel hurt because bright students are given chance, because the smart students are given special attention. And so we must take care of all students so that they do well. We must use our teaching learning things and especially our teaching time. And at the end, I've given you 15, yeah, I've given you 15 tips for struggling students. I strongly believe, teachers, in my own experience as a teacher, and then as going to schools and training children both in rural areas, tribal areas, I have found that when there is a passion to help, we are able to help students. And so remember, all of us who are here today, can make a difference in the life of a student. When we make this difference, we can help these underachievers to become top scorers. Neuroscience is simply saying this. The neuroplasticity of the brain is that children can all develop. That today I can develop a skill. If I'm getting 10 marks today, I can slowly bring it to 15, 20, and slowly take it to 70, 80, 90. That by practice, by perseverance, I can move forward. And that is the joy of doing well in this with these underachievers. So neuroscience is supporting us. You know, today, if you notice, anyone getting a stroke because of hypertension and is become paralyzed, there are certain exercises that if you do them, they create those dead, those damaged cells which, based on our movement, are recreated so that then we get back our movement. And so that is called the neuroplasticity. So similarly, intelligence can be developed, intelligence can be sharpened. And so when we have this care and love for our students, teachers, we will do well. So at the end of this summary, it is my passion that we will all take care of our struggling students, that we will all help our students. Maybe there will be 70% very bright or 60% very bright. Today the TET class results also come, and so you will see some students who have not done well. Please help these students. Please do intervention in this hand so that they are able to do well. And so thank you very much. And we can take, if you have on a chat box, there are 2 minutes that we have. If you have something, we can do, take it up. Okay. Is there any other query? You can handle it. We'll handle it. But if you have anything on this issue, yeah. And as I told you, this book is very good. I have written it. It also have the different type of question, the strategies, how you can use different things. It will be a great help to you, and especially in preparing, helping these underachievers to become to perform well. Any questions have come? Okay. I don't see any particular questions in the chat box. How many minutes are there?
Please explain neuroscience.
Okay, neuroscience, there is a in the chat box about neuroscience. Neuroscience is an area how the brain works. And in this, especially now in the last few years, first we taught cognitive as more to deal with motivation, more to deal with the teaching. Today we are seeing neuroscience is also giving us an insight how our brain works and how we can make learning much more faster. That's why I have written one paper and in my book, making learning easier, faster, better. That is, today there are techniques in which we can help students to understand faster, more easily. So that study of how to help students, it is also called accelerated learning. Acceleration, when you press the accelerator, you move fast. That is what it means learning. Do not do anything there. You see, many times negative motivation of students is calling for attention. When a student does not want to do anything, He's trying to say something to us. And then spend some time, try to pick up, give a little time, and by your personal care and attention, he will slowly open up and then you can help him.
How neuroscience will help teachers.
How neuroscience teaches, this is going to help you in the way you teach. It will get you, instead of struggling sometimes for classroom management, it will give you a tips in how to have classroom management. It will give you what should be the strategy, how much a percentage of time you should give for activity and for other things. So lots of areas you will see in neuroscience. Anything else there?
Kind of.
Okay. And with this, thank you for this few chat questions that came up, but you are always welcome.
No attendance.
Okay. So thank you very much. Okay.